Good afternoon, BNI. Welcome to our Visitor Day Support webinar. This is for week 7 and week 8 of the Visitor Day Support webinar series. We'd like to welcome you to the final webinar for this particular series. As we get started, just a few housekeeping items. As we've reviewed in past webinars, I do keep everyone on listen only to avoid any of the background noise. However, I welcome your questions throughout the webinar. So if you have questions, please feel free to go ahead and just type those in and I'll answer them as we go along. Also, under the handout section, I provided various handouts for your use. Feel free to go ahead and download these directly from the control panel of the GoToWebinar. These are also available as downloads in BNI Connect if that's easier for you to access. And finally, as part of our Visitor Day Support email campaign, these will be coming as attachments when you get to week 7 and 8 of the Visitor Day process. Finally, as a reminder, this webinar is being recorded. So if you happen to have missed the previous webinars that we did in this series, please reach out to your director consultant and they can get you the recorded version so that you have those as you begin going through the Visitor Day process. So as I welcome you, I'd like to introduce myself as Jenni Nering. I'm the Executive Director for the SoCal BNI region. I help to support all of the chapters that meet in Orange County, Long Beach, and South Bay. And as I mentioned previously, this is the final webinar for this particular series. We've been going through the week-by-week preparation for Visitors Day. And this is in conjunction with participation in a Visitors Day workshop. So these webinars are designed to help support the concepts and the information that we talk about in the 2.5-hour workshop. We know that as you begin the Visitor Day planning process, you take in so much information at the workshop that it's nice to have it broken down week by week. So these recorded webinars will be available for all of our BNI chapters as they begin their Visitor Day planning process, regardless of when that starts. It's important that we honor our BNI core values throughout the Visitor Day process. So each aspect of what we do throughout the planning, the hosting, and the follow-up of the Visitors Day, everything should be in line with our BNI core values. If it's not, then it doesn't really have a place in BNI. We want to make sure we're staying true to our mission and honoring our BNI core values throughout anything that we do in BNI, especially planning something such as a Visitor's Day. So at this point in the process, you guys have just hosted your Visitors Day. I'm going to assume that if you're participating in these webinars and you've participated in the workshops, that you've had a very successful event. So week 6, which would have been last week in this series, is the actual Visitors Day. So this week, we are getting ready to hopefully induct some new members. We're also getting ready to welcome additional visitors that maybe didn't make it to last week's Visitors Day event. So this is a week of celebration, not only for your existing members that have put so much effort into the event, but a time of celebration for the new members that you're welcoming to the team. I thought this was a perfect quote to include and share with you folks as we just finished a great Visitors Day event on week 6, and that's to make today so awesome that yesterday gets jealous. We don't want to look at the Visitors Day as the final destination, but rather the starting point. And so much of what we do during week 7 and week 8 of this process, the 2 weeks after Visitors Day, so much of what we do during those 2 weeks is even more important than the actual day of the Visitors Day event. So the fortune's really in the follow-up. So during week 7 and week 8, we have combined these for the webinar purposes, but during week 7, we want the education coordinator to really focus in their presentation on scheduling one-to-one meetings with the new members, how to participate in those one-to-ones, how to get those scheduled. We want our new members to be getting engaged right away. So we recommend that on week 7, the education coordinator gives a presentation on scheduling the one-to-ones, but also on what an effective one-to-one would look like. Now, keep in mind, during week 7 and week 8, and even beyond, but especially week 7 and week 8, you should have quite an influx of visitors that are continuing to come through your chapter meeting as an effort of your visitor day. So making sure that you explain what a one-to-one is during this presentation will be important to help include all of those visitors that may be attending your meeting as well that week. During week 8, for the education coordinator presentation, so this is 2 weeks after your visitors day, we encourage the education coordinator to give a presentation on inviting for the feature presenter, the feature keynote presenters. This is a really great topic to include at this point, as your new members will have begun to attend member success program. They'll be getting placed on the speaker rotation very soon, and we want to get them thinking about the importance of inviting for their keynote. So the education coordinator during week 8 is encouraged to prepare a presentation which helps the members really focus and know who to invite for their feature presentation. As a friendly reminder, we do have the handouts available in the GoToWebinar control panel, so feel free to download those as we are going through the presentation here today. And also, if you have questions, type those in. I'm happy to answer the questions as we go along. So week 7 and 8 for our event coordinator, or perhaps this is your growth and retention coordinator. During week 7, we really want this presentation focused on keeping the momentum going and the continued visitor follow-up from all the efforts put in for the Visitors Day. Members have already prepared their personal prospect lists. They have invited. You guys had a great event on week 6, but I'm sure there were people that said they would be there that for some reason weren't able to attend, or maybe even prospects that you invited that you were never able to get in contact with prior to the event. Week 7 is a great week for the event coordinator and the growth and retention team to remind all of the members to not let that list go to waste and continue to follow up with the prospects off of their personal prospect list. Also using the visitor not attended report in BNI Connect to follow up with any of the people that they invited that weren't able to attend. During week 8, the event coordinator is encouraged to give a presentation on whatever the next growth event may be. So for example, what we recommend is about 5 weeks after the Visitors Day for the chapter to schedule a Bring Your Substitute Day. If you have the Visitor Day Workshop Handbook, you can find the details about that on page 49. But about 5 to 6 weeks after the Visitors Day is a really great week to schedule the Bring Your Substitute event, as it helps the new members to get in that mindset of how important it is to have a substitute. It helps to educate them on the value of preparing in advance. And then it also doubles the chapter size. So a few weeks after your Visitors Day, you have another great event, which helps to continue and keep that momentum going. So that would be week 8 for your event coordinator presentation. During week 7 and week 8 for our mentors. Week 7 is a very important week for our mentor team, as this is when they're beginning to help get the new members registered for the Member Success Program. So during week 7 at the chapter meeting, we'll probably have new members to induct from our previous week, which was our Visitors Day event. We want to really work as a mentor team to help get those new members registered to attend right away, help get them engaged and understand the process so they can begin receiving value and also bringing value to the other chapter members. They'll also want to, during week 8, as the mentor team is getting to know the new members and the membership committee is going through the process of reviewing the applicants and getting those approved. During week 8, the mentors will want to begin implementing the Passport to Success and making sure that all of the new members are successfully working through that program. They will receive their passport when they attend the Member Success Program. However, you want to begin planting the seed right away that this Passport to Success program is something that they'll be going through to help get them up to speed quickly so they can begin meeting with the members and begin receiving value through their BNI membership. During week 7 and week 8 for our chapter president, what fun weeks you have as chapter president as you have the opportunity to induct the newest members into your chapter, and also to immediately following those meetings, meet with your newest members for that new member orientation. All those inductees, you want to get connected with them right away as the chapter president, begin developing that relationship so they see you as a resource. Also to really help make them feel comfortable as the newest members to your team. So this is going to be an ongoing thing that you'll be doing as chapter president, but you'll certainly see an influx on week 7 and week 8 of new member inductions and new member orientations. So as chapter president, you'll want to plan in advance to allow some additional time following the meetings so that you're not rushed as you have that orientation. You may have 5, 6, 7 members that are participating in that orientation at once for the weeks following Visitors Day. So you'll want to make sure that you have allowed time in your schedule to really give the dedication needed to do an effective new member orientation. You'll also want to make sure that you plan in advance to have those new member induction certificates, which you'll see an example of those up on your screen right now, as this is what you'll use to be inducting all of your new members. For week 7 and week 8, the membership committee is going to be busy, very busy, reviewing applications that were submitted for membership at the Visitors Day and also the weeks following. Membership committee will want to act very promptly and professionally, keeping in contact with all of the applicants, keeping them informed of where they're at in the process, inviting them back to attend the meeting while their applications are being reviewed. But my strong recommendation to the membership committee is to do your best to have some of those applications reviewed that first week following the Visitors Day. It's very exciting for the new member or for the members to see new members inducted the week following the Visitors Day, to see their hard work paying off, and it's exciting for them. And it will also be really exciting for those new members to be inducted that week, as there should be another large group of visitors that are attending on week 7 and week 8. So membership committee, act promptly, keep those lines of communication open with all the applicants so they know where exactly they are in the process. We don't want them to feel like they aren't wanted or that they're just kind of floundering out there. So make sure that at least one person from your membership committee is designated to keep in contact with all pending applicants. Now, as you're going through the application process for new members, you may have renewals as well. You don't want to let any of those fall through the cracks. So as I mentioned, during week 7 and week 8, the membership committee tends to be very busy. So try to plan in advance for that. If it seems as though you may need additional membership committee people to be certified to help you go through the process of reviewing these applicants, reach out to your director consultant early on in your planning process so they can help you to get those new membership committee members certified for the role. Week 7 and 8, the visitor host team will definitely want to be prepared for a large visitor turnout. After the meeting, they'll want to complete the visitor attendance and BNI Connect the same day as the chapter meeting. Make sure that they're doing those follow-up phone calls. In the Visitors Day workbook, you'll see on page 33, there's the scripting there for those follow-up phone calls. So if you need to reference that, you have that available there. It's also available for you as a download here in the webinar. The visitor host team, my best recommendation, especially during week 7 and week 8, is to treat it like a second and third Visitors Day. You'll have a lot of returning visitors. You'll have a lot of first-time visitors that weren't able to make it to the Visitors Day. You'll want to arrive early, set up early, be ready in advance with name badges prepared and the sign-in sheet. All of the things that we prepared for the actual Visitors Day are helping to create really good habits, which we encourage all of our successful chapters to make as best practices. So the things that we did for our Visitors Day should be things that the visitor host team continues to implement moving forward. And week 7 and 8 will be big visitor weeks, so they'll want to make sure they're prepared to welcome and receive all of those visitors following their Visitors Day. Also, don't forget that those new members that will be inducted, we want to give them a great warm welcome, as they're going to be the newest members to our team. And although they are perhaps being inducted and officially members, they're still new to the process. So they'll be looking to the visitor host team to help make them feel welcome and get them connected those first couple weeks as new members. During your Visitor Day support email for week 7 and 8, if your chapter is participating in the email campaign from the regional office, then you'll receive these reminders. However, if the chapter has decided to opt out of that Visitor Day support email campaign, the event coordinator will want to make sure that they're reminding the members to follow up on the no-shows and any of the invitees that were unable to make the actual Visitors Day. Don't let that time and hard work pass by. You want to really capitalize on the efforts that your members put forth to prepare their personal prospect list and to send out those invitations. So keep reminding them the importance of following up with all of those contacts that they invited. And also get them pre-registered for those following meetings. So as they're doing their follow-up, they want to continue to use that pre-meeting registration link so that the visitors get reminded of the meeting, and the visitor host team and the leadership team, they're prepared, knowing which visitors will be scheduled to attend. Week 7 and 8, just a reminder that dreams don't work unless you do. So, you know, a lot of our members look at the Visitors Day and the preparation leading up to as the work. Really, the work comes in after the event. The work comes as you're inducting new members and you're beginning to develop relationships with them and scheduling your one-to-ones and following up with the visitors. Don't look at it as the destination. The weeks following the Visitors Day, that's really where their momentum builds. Really, I was facilitating a workshop a couple weeks ago with one of our chapters that added 14 members as a direct result from their Visitors Day. And he said, he was the vice president, and his words were perfect. He said the weeks following their Visitors Day, it was like this glow, this afterglow that surrounded the members. And they came into the chapter meetings after, you know, the couple weeks after the Visitors Day with this extra spring in their step. And, you know, they really felt that their hard work had paid off, but they continued to put in that work to follow up and keep in contact with all of their invitees and their visitors that attended the meeting. So this would be a great time, if you have questions, to go ahead and type those in. I'd love to take some questions from you. Some of the questions I've gone ahead and answered as we've gone along. I do have everyone on listen only mode, so the best way to ask your questions is to type them in. Yes, as a reminder, I have uploaded some of the handouts that were discussed during this webinar. So you can go ahead and download those directly from the GoToWebinar screen. And yeah, for those of you that maybe chimed in a little bit later on our webinar, this has been recorded, so we'd be happy to share it with you after. If you need a copy of this recording, either for yourself or to share with your fellow chapter members, just send an email to your director consultant and they can get you a copy of the recorded webinar. Is it too late for a chapter to schedule a Visitors Day? Absolutely not. We do visitor days all year long. So you could schedule your Visitors Day for any time throughout the year, but we definitely need about 60 days notice to get those on the books. And right now we're pretty scheduled out because of the World Class World Series chapter competition. So you may need to be flexible with that date if you're looking to get your Visitors Day scheduled during the chapter competition. If that's not as important to you as actually getting a Visitors Day on the books, maybe for the summer months or around the holidays, we can absolutely get you guys scheduled. Just work with your chapter director and they'll coordinate with our regional office to get you scheduled for the event. Great question. We do have many more Visitor Day workshops scheduled. And yes, these webinars aren't really designed to replace those workshops at all. These webinars are designed to be in addition to help supplement the information that we shared during the webinars, or excuse me, during the workshops. There's so much information packed in those workshops in just 2.5 hours that these webinars are designed to walk you through the process week by week after you've attended the workshop. So if some of what we talk about during the webinar doesn't make sense, it may be because we went into more detail about those specific concepts during the workshop, and these webinars are really to help support those Visitor Day workshops, the in-person workshops. You can find the schedule of those at socalbni.com. Under the events calendar, we've got plenty of them scheduled for the next couple of months. I'd love to see you out there. I facilitate most of those workshops, so any of you that I haven't seen out there yet, I'd love to have an opportunity to meet you and to welcome you to those. It's a lot of great information that is useful even if your chapter decides not to do a Visitor's Day. It looks like that's all the questions our attendees have. So I don't want to take any more of your time. I know it's precious and everyone's so busy, especially those of you that are busy preparing for those Visitors Days. So I'd like to thank you for your time today. Thank you for joining me for our final Visitors Day support webinar in the series. I look forward to participating in your Visitors Day if you've already got one scheduled, and if not, I look forward to getting one scheduled with you. Remember that in BNI, your future is bright. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon.